Hey, it's Monday, which means it's the first day of my work week and the time that I try to do studio days on, that I have time blocked for studio days. And I just got done meeting with my mentor for coffee and updating him on everything that I have not been doing and all of the places I've been nowhere in the last 3-ish weeks because I've been sick and I had family in town and all of those things. And so really the most exciting part of our session was getting to talk about other things, and then also showing him my new little camera, this camera that I got for vlogging. So that was exciting. But now that I'm back in the studio, it is 12 on a Monday. And this is what happens when I meet with him is I just don't do anything before I meet with him, and then I meet with him. That takes a couple hours, get there, get back. I actually got to take the car today instead of the bus, so that was really nice as far as timing. I got to go check my P.O. box. Also nothing there. And now I'm back in the studio trying to figure out what's next and about to dig into my to-do list and get on track with today as far as I need to edit some video for a collaboration I've been working on. But I wanted to show you the state of the studio whenever I come in on a Monday. So this is my studio mate's space. You can see my floor is kind of covered. This is my backpack from meetings, and my desk is still in figure out this camera mode. And then my studio mate's desk is a disaster. So I highly recommend not sharing. And then this closet, you're going to see that closet, that's a mess. But I highly recommend not sharing a studio with a 6-year-old. So, but my space over here is relatively calm, clean, collected. And that is where I will be spending my time today. Just wanted to show you where I will be today and what I will be doing. Like I said, I need to predominantly work on a video edit today, which is not my fine art, but when I work 2 days a week, essentially, it makes more sense to put all of the work that I can't do with my child in to Monday and Tuesday. And then I am with my kiddo Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I work again on Saturday. So sometimes it makes sense to shift that studio time and that fine art work time to the days that I'm with my child. And then she can just create alongside me and like experiment with these processes and that sort of thing too. But that's where we are today. So I'll do some video editing. I actually have a virtual creative salon tonight, the first salon that I'm doing virtual, and I have a handful of people coming to that, a couple of people sharing, and so I can't wait to update you on how that goes. So welcome to the studio on a Monday when I and my kid have trashed it. So I thought I would give you a little studio tour because this may be the first time that you are here, and this is the first time that I am here, and so you've never been here before. So I thought it would be a little fun. So this is the studio. I have 2 wonderful windows. This is my 6-year-old studio corner. And then this is my messy desk. Mostly it's just for laptop work, and then also painting, collaging, any of that. And then those are my flat files. And then this is what I call, like, it's so small, but I call this my like wet zone. So this is like painting, all of that. And then this is like the dry zone. So this is the digital, this is the podcasting, the meetings, like all of that. And it's a standing desk so it can telescope. I got my anti-fatigue mat, And then this is a work that I'm working on, all of those little minis. Those are something that I'm working on from past work. I'm trying to create a book of all of my deconstructive photography with a bunch of essays around my own religious deconstruction and becoming. So what this work means to me now versus what it used to mean to me. This is one of my very favorite series. I'll just show you. really quickly, but not too much. And then here's my brain board. You can see some Christopher Wright work. Under that flyer is a Jason Craighead work of, I got to see those at K Contemporary in Denver. This is my to-do list space. I actually have ADHD, so I don't usually use that whiteboard because that would just be too helpful. But this is my Rodecaster. This is the mic. This is like the digital creation station. And it's usually about that clean. And then this is pretty messy right now. This is my wet lab, essentially, for right now. And then the white bin under there, that is work of my kids that I need to scan. I'm working on a book of her work from 0 to 5. And so the white bin is 4, which I think I've scanned. And then the bin under it is 5, which I need to scan. And it takes, let me tell you, it takes forever to do that. Flat files, that's a painting in progress, paintings for whatever, I don't know, maybe in progress, plant, snake plant from my friend Ella. And then let me show you this little zone. So the canvases are mine, the rest is my kids. And she's just amazing. Look at some of this, look at the clay that she made. So great. Okay, not everybody's gonna love this. This is a wizard. That's a wizard, y'all. That is so fun. So she inspires me. The reason that I let her stay in my studio, even though she's really messy and doesn't respect my boundaries and takes all of, she's like the worst studio mate. And I try to teach her about art studios all of the time. She takes my materials, like all of that. The reason I let her stay is because she is just such an inspiration to me. She creates constantly. Creativity oozes out of her. And there's a video where I talk about that she is just like an art monster. She's just like creating all of the time. And the benefit of that, and then also the like really hard part of that as a mom and as an artist and creator. So go watch that. But I love sharing a studio with her because it's just amazing to see what she puts out every single day and every single week. What she wants to do is create, and that is incredible to me. And if I can allow myself to not be jealous and to actually tap into that energy, then I can create all of the time too. And that my creations are worthwhile, and that the things that just have to pour out of me or that I'm just curious about, that those are like, those will just come out just like they come out for her. So as long as I have the materials, as long as I'm doing the things that have the inspiration, then they'll come out. So having her here is both a really big challenge and also a really huge benefit if I allow it to be, because sharing a studio with a 6-year-old, it really is such a gift in a way. So anyway, that's the studio. Thanks for looking. I forgot to show you what's behind these doors. What's behind these doors? Oh, also this is not mine. This is a Mati. Mati made this, and then that's another artist. So those are not mine. But look at this. This is where the stuff gets real, right? So these are a bunch of little inspiration things or things that I've made. These are the like art carts. Trash. Look at all these glues. Like, I don't know, have I glued anything in forever? And then this is something I found in a really old Time magazine. Look, old nudes is good nudes. Ugh, so inspiring. Such inspiring stuff in here. And then look, here's this one. Doesn't open all the way because look at this engineering. Look at that. Look at that plan. Printers in here. I don't like to see it. That's a bunch of podcasting gear that I'm trying to sell, old gear. But look at this. More Time magazine inspo. Like she's kissing this bird. Like what's happening here? I love it. I don't know. I love it. So anyway, that's what's behind door number 2. I just have to show you something. And this is why it is so hard to get anything done anytime. Look. Green. I just let the dog out because he was begging to go out. So I just let the dog out, and I just look at these colors. Hello, gorgeous. Like, hello. Hello. Hello, gorgeouses. Hello, wind. is just so glowy and beautiful. I know I just keep saying this, like, oh, just take this minute to just be thrown around in the wind like these beautiful cosmos. Oh, oh, blow, you amaranth. A little tomato in there if you can see it. Look at this. Look at this gorgeousness. It's just so pretty. So many things just living their lives. Just so many things just living their lives. Hey, I'm in the studio and I'm waiting on the big computer, the powerful computer, to render a really big project for me that I also, you can judge me, but every time I work in video, I have to like remember how to work in video. And so I waited until the very end of an hour and 50-minute video to render anything. You can judge me. So I'm working on that, but I wanted to show you just a little tiny thing that makes my practice and my studio work is as a mom and a creator and someone that works in production. So my studio is at home and my child is homeschooled and my partner homeschools my child on the days that I work. And so let me just tell you, they are here almost all the time. Anytime that I'm working, they are pretty much here. So you're probably going to hear them in the background of these videos. But I just wanted to show you the most clutch thing that I have discovered as an ADHDer, as a mom who works from home. And it's a pretty good system. There's some flaws, but we have been trying to train on this system for like a week. So I needed a way to visually show my kiddo that she could not disturb mom, that she needed to go to dad for things, which I hear that this is a common problem. And even with my very, very present and very, very supportive 50-50 like childcare partner. But we created a system. So I invited her to make a visual thing for my door that on one side would show that she needed to stop and go get dad. And on the other side would show that she could come in or that she could knock and ask if she could come in. Because as an ADHDer, as someone that has a very short train of thought, I was getting interrupted all of the time, let alone my own interruptions, which are enough. Making coffee, going to the bathroom, needing a little walkie, needing a crunchy snacky, all of those things. I was also getting interrupted whenever they left the house and they wanted to say goodbye and give me a kiss, or whenever she found something cool and wanted to show me, or just like so we share a studio, so she would come in anytime she needed scissors or tape or like any of those things, even though her storage is out there. She'll like leave it in here a lot, or she'll need like my hole punch, or like, because obviously my supplies are her supplies. Apparently I didn't draw a good boundary with that at some point. So I just wanted to show you what she made and how we've created this system. So let me show you. And she created this sign. So this is the no side. She said that this is a 2 because it's the second side, but it's a no. This is the hard stop side. Do not come in. And I put this up and I close my door and then she won't bother me. And then this is the you can come in, you can knock, you can ask me questions side. And that's a 1. So that's the first side. You can come inside. And then so far we've been using sticky tack. We first tried fishing line hung on the door handle, but that didn't work out super well because it would get shut in the door. We have moved to sticky tack, but it lives under the swamp cooler vent, which is super humid all of the time and doesn't work super well. So the sticky tack doesn't really stick all the time. So we've got to figure out some of these like material problems. But let me just tell you, we are about a week in with this new system, and I could not be more thrilled. There have only been one or two times that she has come to me when the red has been on, and I just ignore it. And then she knows to go find her dad, and it's so great. So if you have kiddos at home in your studio, I would love to hear about all of your processes and like how you share, if you share space, if they're allowed in your studio, if they're not allowed in your studio, how you keep them out, how you've created boundaries, maybe since day one, unlike me, but how you've created boundaries around your studio and how that protects your time and your energy. Because let me tell you, task switching, attention switching, from being deep in thought writing something to a knock on my door. Like, this is literally, we had to put up no solicitor signs on the house because if the doorbell rang in the middle of something for me, it takes me like an hour to get back. It's such a journey. So no solicitor signs on the door. Highly recommend, even though people still ignore them, which we tell them, please don't ignore these. And then two, essentially a no solicitor sign for your studio door. So I invited my kid in to make something that she could get excited around and that she would know the system of. So having her create it was so clutch. And then we were able to just hang it up. We figured out the system together and now she's able to execute it. So I'm getting time and energy back in, and I can commit to my workflows and like keep a train of thought without being interrupted. So we'll continue to troubleshoot the material part of that because the sticky tack is not working right now, but the system overall is wonderful. So that's what I have on this. So I am rendering again. I just fixed the captions on a video, and so I'm rendering again. And so I'm finding little pockets to do other things. And instead of writing or like working on marketing or anything like that today, I am wanting to and feeling like my energy could go towards doing something a little bit like creative, working on a fine art project, but then also like I have a creative salon tonight. And so I'm thinking that in order to conserve some of that energy, like creative energy, maybe it's not time to write, maybe it's not time to work on marketing, maybe it's not time to stare at a computer more today, but maybe it's time to revisit an old project. So I am working on a new project. It's really actually a really old project, but I learned about a photographic process recently that I think really, really fits this project and could make it really something and make something happen with this. So I'm excited to explore that alternative process, and I will hopefully create a video for you as I experiment and learn that process so that you can watch me fumble through learning this new alternative process. But for right now, I am going to look at the images that I had for this project that were going to be a zine, and they're iPhone images. They are not particularly, it's about the content of the image and it's about the feeling of the image. It's not about the technical quality of the image because they are iPhone images. And the project is about right after I had my kiddo, and it's about mothering myself through this transition while also learning to mother something else that is not a dog, and that owns my body. Like, I nursed my child for 14 to 16 months. I can't remember exactly. And through this phase of hormones and postpartum OCD and depression and all of that. So I'm wanting to just like kind of look at these images and see if there's anything interesting there still. I printed out a whole bunch of minis in order to, I used to have them pinned up all over the walls, kind of like, here, this is a different project that I'm working on. But a lot of what I'm doing right now is reformulating kind of like old projects and revisiting old projects because that's kind of the low-hanging fruit that I can that I can access right now versus like executing some of these broad, grand ideas that are different materials and different concepts and those sorts of things. And so I'm getting out all of the minis. I'm going to look at them and see if what's here, if this is something worthwhile, and look at kind of like, I'm kind of trying to see what images that I'm drawn to that could tell the story so that I have some images that I can start putting onto transparencies, laser transparencies, in order to create my negative for the alternative process. So let me take you with me. So here I have the yeses so far, which may not end up being yeses. I have a stack of maybes. This was probably from the last time that I looked at these was probably like 2021. So there's that. Here are the no's. And then here's also this pile that I didn't label and I don't know what they are. So I'm assuming that they were printed later and I haven't gone through them and that I actually need to go through them and that they are not yet yeses, maybes, or nos, and that they are in fact a pile that needs to go into one of these. So let's see what we're looking at. Hi. So I'm not even gonna look at the no's or the maybes because we're gonna trust past me, at least at this point. Maybe when I'm starting to sequence and if I'm missing something or if there feels like there's a gap in the story, or even just for curiosity reasons, there may be a point where I will go back through these and see what's happening here and what I got rid of and see if there's an image that maybe isn't powerful on its own or isn't worthwhile on its own, but within the context of everything else, maybe becomes a bridge or becomes more powerful than it really is. So I'm gonna throw those out for now, but I'm not actually gonna throw them out, like I just said. So I'm gonna start with these, the stack of all of the yeses, and I'm gonna see what we have happening here, what it looks like, and see if honestly, like I'm not even to the place of like, we are not going from, is this a valid project? Like none of that yet. Like that will kill my momentum. That will kill any sort of self-trust that I am like trying to muster here. So let's see what's here. Do you see this stack? Like this is nuts. This is nuts. I think this is like the first 3 years of my kid's life. This is nuts. This could be a really overwhelming project, but we'll see. Baby hand. I'm also just recognizing that one, my desk is not big enough, and two, also that the printer that I use to do these on, some of them are like, not this one, this is just really beautiful, and I want you to see it. But some of them, this is really beautiful too. Oh man. Oh, I'm excited to be here. But some of the prints are like really glitchy, and I mean, I think I can tell what's happening there, but there are some that I think once I get an edit and a sequence, that there's possibility that once I see the real image that's not a mini that's glitched, because I can love a good glitch, that it's not going to be as meaningful or as powerful. Ugh, baby carrot. Ooh, little tiny baby carrot. Baby carrot, baby Karen. Oh, so many good images from my dear baby's life. And right now, as I'm putting all of these out here, I'm realizing that potentially going through them as like flashcards instead of laying them all out on a table could have been the right call. But here we are. This is what we're doing. today, apparently. This is the thing, is that I am 100%, let me just tell you, when you need to, you lean on someone else, because I am going to go through this edit who knows how many times, but also because this is my baby's first, like the very beginning of her life and the very beginning of me becoming a mother. And so you can bet your booty that I'm gonna put my mentor's eyes on these and see what he thinks of some of these images, and then also at some point the edit, and then also the sequence. And then this is going to be an interesting project because it's taking these into an alternative process. They are going to look like there's going to be so many. So I'm going to have to start with a large group of images because there are going to be so many points along the journey that I'm going to be able to lose images. So through putting them onto transparency film, the image could not work. Putting them into the alternative process that I want to, that image could then not work again, or a different image could not work. So there are going to be multiple points so I'm probably going to start with a wider edit and then see what can come of this. And then hopefully my vision for this is just that it becomes a zine. I can scan the alternative process images and then put it into a zine or a book. Maybe even I'll find some poetry for you that coincides with this theme. Maybe not. I don't know. We got to see what this project wants to be. What does she want to be? What does she want to be? Like I said, I'm finding that this was the wrong direction with putting them all out. Am I still doing it? I'm still doing it. How's this render? 43 minutes left. We've got time. So many things I forgot. So many things I couldn't have remembered. Ugh, the mask days. So this work was from probably 2019 to 2021 or 2020. Baby in a dishwasher. Yeah, too many images. I gotta flashcard it and cut it down, I think. So now I'm picking out, just going through really fast, what interests me. What gives me feelings thinking about this is mothering and mothering myself. And I'm also picking up at the same time like hard nose, like this one. This is my partner writing in a journal that we wrote letters to the baby when she was in my belly. And that was a trip that we took right when we found out that we were pregnant. So we were writing to her. You know those apps that are like, oh, your baby's the size of a peppercorn, or you can like pick the theme. And so we would write to like little peppercorn or whatever that week. And so that's what he's doing. And that's an interesting story to me. But no viewer would have any idea what's happening there. And to enter this character that is my partner, that is in like not many of the photos, and especially not with me or my baby, I think that that's too weird. Like, who is that guy? What is he doing? Like, no. But like me leaking through my sweatshirt, yeah, that's making the cut right now. Hand full of supplements, baby's hand full of jam. Like, there's a lot of hand themes, so I'm gonna try to keep a lot of the hands right now because there's just such a large amount of images. I'll be able to kind of like cut down the hands, but still use that as a theme. no, no, yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. And in school, I remember we would always talk about like, it was like, who's the quote by? Write drunk, edit sober. I don't drink. But I remember that anytime I come to a group of images, a body of work, there's also these symbols that come out that make me think of just like motherhood. Like this is like my kiddo at my feet in the kitchen. Like what says motherhood more than that? I don't know. I'm also like, I don't want anything that clearly shows her face. We keep my bebe off the internet, and so I feel like it would be good to keep her off of a book. There's a lot of images of like me feeding myself, like my plates, my nourishment. So I'm recognizing there's a hand theme, my hand, her hands, even the dog's paw. There's a lot of dogs. Should always be a lot of dogs. Like dog next to a giant pile of pillows, like the work and the life and the like what it takes to wash a load of freaking laundry. And then there's these images that really make sense in color, and like window shades, the curtains that are becoming these blocks of color, and like I can just remember laying there and like seeing these color blocks and like getting a little bit of hope or inspiration from these color blocks when I had to like fight so much for like color in my life. And will this make sense in the alternative process that I'm envisioning? Like, probably not, but there's a chance that it becomes a sort of abstract moment or pattern from the representational that could be used as like a breath or a bridge or a connection, or just because it's like a rectangles, but then also domestic, it could also be like an echo image. So there may be another image that it really speaks well with that would make that page, that spread more dynamic. So let's see what happens. It may get cut on the next round. These all might. We'll see. And I'll just keep going through these again and 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 again till, you know, like that thing, I looked it up today what the word was, but I can't remember what it is now. But when you say a word so much that it begins not making sense, it's like an actual psychological, there's a term for it. And that's what I'll do with these. I will look at them and look at them and look at them until they don't make sense. So I think what I'm noticing, not that this is what I was here for, but project is worthwhile. We keep going. Piles and piles of frozen breast milk that I threw out when we moved and threw out again when my baby weaned. Hours and hours of time pumping. Meals and meals and meals in my body. Water, oh my gosh. Drinking water. That's emotional for me, and I think for a lot of my moms, seeing piles of milk thawing. Whether that's a mom that was able to nurse or not, I think that there's something here around the weight and grief of early motherhood. So I just went through the yeses and pulled out what would become no's, and then I went through the maybes, and pulled out what would become no's. And then, so this is the maybe stack now versus like what it was, which was like that. And then, but the yes stack grew. So I'm going to have to keep working with that. So I'm going to put these into the nose. I put the maybes still into the maybes. And then I have to go eat because I'm hungry and work on something else for a while because I'm noticing that I can't keep working on this project. I'm losing focus and getting a little bit loosey-goosey. So we're going to come back to this another day. Hey, so it's been a long day in the studio. It's dark outside now, as you can see. And I just wrapped up my first ever virtual creative salon. And I just wanted to hop on here and tell you about it because I'm just like glowing and so excited, so inspired, and feel so connected to other creatives, people trying to stay committed to their practice and make things, whatever that means, in a world that feels really hard right now. And to get to see people give each other feedback on their creative process. And a lot of tonight wasn't like necessarily specific projects or like sharing it and getting feedback on like the specific words or like critique or anything like that. But it was very much like sharing ideas and sharing the processings of the creative practice right now and the specific works that they're working on. And I'm just blown away at people's vulnerability and their shares and their willingness to connect with other people and want to be connected with other creatives. And I'm just so thankful. I'm going to be glowing from this one until the next one. And I am also so tired and have had such a long and busy day. And so I am going to go help my daughter go to bed, and then I am going to do something not in the studio for a while as this video continues to render all day. Need a new computer. So, amazing creative virtual salon. The first virtual salon I have ever held. It was a massive success, I think, and I can't wait to invite you all to the next one also. Bye.